Pathmonk is the AI for website conversions. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in their buying journey separates you from the competition online. Pathmonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant market experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by 50% by adding Pathmonk to your website in seconds, by letting the AI do all the work and increase conversions by 50% while you keep doing marketing as usual. Check us out on pathmonk.com. Hey everybody, welcome back to Pathmonk Presents. Today we're joined by Joe Starnes. He's the CEO of Ombre. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Rick.
Most welcome. Maybe we get started, Joe. We start with the basics a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your company, and if you were explaining it to a friend over coffee, how would you describe what you do?
Yeah, so I'm CEO of Ombre, and we are a wellness company, and we focus on gut health kind of as a pathway into wellness. So, I talk to people about it. A lot of people don't really understand how much impact their gut microbiome has, right? So you have all these bacteria that live in your gut, and they absolutely impact everything, starting with digestive issues, but really like your sleep, your performance, your mental clarity, that can impact your heart, like all kinds of things. The immune system is hugely tied to gut health, or very closely tied to gut health. So, Um, we really use that and use your microbiome and having a healthy microbiome as a way to promote overall health and kind of a reflection of who you are in that moment, right? Because if you're healthy, you're eating healthy, you have healthy habits, you're going to have a healthy microbiome, right? If you get off the rails a little bit or a lot bit, right, like you're going to have an unhealthy microbiome, and you can see that in our test.
Of course, and don't they say the microbiome is like your second brain? It's like actually likes acts like a brain, or maybe
Yeah, it
I'm off on this, but
releases a ton of neurotransmitters like in your bloodstream, right? So like that's where it has an impact on mood. That's where things like when you eat sugar, like you get a sugar buzz or you feel happy. Yeah, absolutely. Second brain. A lot of people also call it like the an extra organ or like the newest organ that's been discovered.
right.
So yeah. I mean, it just has a huge impact on every aspect of your life.
No, that's impressive. I think a product like yours can just, or even the test, right? Just understanding how it works, what works for you, what doesn't, right? That will really help. Personally, I'm interested, but as far as the people who use your product, who's the best fit, would you say, for, we get into the marketing lingo, who's your ICP, the ideal customer profile? Who are they? What do they need? And what problems can you solve for them?
Yeah, right now, we tend to target more women just because women tend to be more open to the test, right? Um, so generally 35 to 45, but where we look at it is anytime there's a transition in your life and your body's kind of changing and feeling different, people kind of get curious, or like they're not feeling as good as they want to. And so those transitions are really good times to take a look and see how healthy you are. Particularly as you get older, things just we'll just say get a little bit looser, right? I mean, specifically like some of the parts of your digestive tract. So um, certainly those people. We also though like we focus on athletes again, athletic performance. Really we have a very broad subset of people we target.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm curious, how do these people discover you? Are there any channels that you go to for bringing in more of them? How's that working on your side of things?
Meta is really how we like to introduce people to the brand. But word of mouth is probably that's like the holy grail, right? So we really focus on service. We like to focus on our product. We like to talk to our customers. AI has actually been great for that. So we have a coach that we've developed so we can talk to people much more often. We run a webinar series. So any way that we can talk to people, just because it is a really complex topic, um, any way that we can grow that understanding, we really find that that's a great way to get new customers in the door.
That makes sense. So you mentioned Meta, right? How does your website play in all of this? How much of a role does it play in pulling in more business, getting more tests done?
Yeah, I think the website's obviously it's huge, right? But it's one component. So I think when I look at the website, what I try and look at is, am I telling a comprehensive story, a story, from beginning to end, right? And the beginning of the story often is meta, or it's maybe somebody a friend saying like, "Hey, I tried Ombre, and it's great. Like, here's why you should try it." Well, then when they go to the website, they need to kind of see that reflected back to them, right? So if they clicked on an ad that said reflux, we want to talk a little bit about reflux. If they clicked on an ad that talked about heart health or some of these other issues, we want to be able to talk about it on the website. So um, yeah, I mean the website absolutely is kind of that central reflection of everything else, right? It kind of depends on where and how you get to us. Are you going to a landing page or you're going to the home page? So yeah, we take a huge amount of time making sure that the website matches what we're saying and how we're saying it, and trying to get the right people to the right place. So that we can talk about the issues that are important to them or that are impacting them, right? Because again, gut health is so broad, we can talk to a lot of different people about a lot of different things.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, I like that, you put things into context, right? People are looking for reflux. You take them to a page that explains a little bit, educates, right? Gets them on the same page, so to speak, and then maybe they get to understand why the test is valuable, right?
Yeah, I
So
think reflux is a great example. Most people think, oh, I went out and ate something that didn't agree with me, like maybe spicy food or something like that. But I was talking about transitions before. A lot of times it's just inflammation or something downstream, maybe not in your stomach, maybe, in your gut, like your small intestine, interacting with bacteria, whatever it is. And that can have upstream impacts, right? So, yeah, absolutely. Like I think a lot of people that have reflux just kind of think, oh, it's what I'm eating, or it can be what you're eating, it can be when you're eating, it can be all kinds of things.
yeah, it's pretty cool that you're able to speak to these people. I'm sure there's a lot of thinking and studying behind, what to actually say to them. But as far as the website goes, right, as these pages are laid out, from your experience, what actually makes that page or the website overall convert? Is there any tool, maybe tactic that you can share with us that worked wonders for you as far as conversions?
Yeah, we're all about the fundamentals. And so I think, to A/B testing, right? So well, one, again, like you need a coherent um, landing page, really, right? So if I'm going to deliver an ad to you, or if I'm going to, bring you from Google or wherever I'm bringing you, I probably want the person, so if it's influencer or whoever, like I want that same face to be the first face that you see. If you clicked on something that said reflux, I probably want them talking about reflux because I think that's probably why you click the ad, right? Um, so that's kind of the basics, right? Like you clicked on something, it kind of needs to match what you clicked on, right? Like you don't want to click on a gut test and you go and we start talking about, not reflux, we're talking about heart health, and you see a different person. I think we lose a lot of people that way.
Mm.
Um, but beyond some of those basic principles, it really is like, okay, does this line work better? Does this line work better? If we embed a video here, does that work better? Or if we, do something else over here, does that work better? Um, and we try and iterate really quickly, right? So we're going and looking and we're saying, okay, I've done this test. This is clearly the winner, so I'm going to eliminate this one, and then we're going to promote another test. And maybe we tried one line, or we tried two lines, and we found one that won. So maybe we'll try a different tagline up at the top. Maybe we'll try a different image, something like that. And that's been really successful getting us to good conversion rates. But really, I mean, it is just about basics and fundamentals and being diligent about that.
Okay, but keeping it simple, right? Sounds
Yeah.
that's the best strategy most often. So
Yeah, I
speaking
think,
of,
AI has been great just being able to help us do that so much more quickly, right?
I can
And do
imagine.
some really cool things like, that I don't necessarily know HTML code and, with vibe coding or some of the different tools that are out there right now, I don't necessarily need it. I can do some things that I probably wouldn't have been able to do before, would have taken me quite a bit longer before, and now I can do them really quickly. So I love
Mm,
that.
that's really good. Well, you were mentioning, what you're focusing on also. You're doing a little bit of that, a little bit of this. Now, maybe that's a perfect segue for my next question, which is about you, Joe.
Yeah.
What's the day in the life like for you? What are the main things you focus on as you go into work each day? What keeps you excited?
Yeah, so we're a small team, so we have a marketer, we have our chief operating officer, who's really like a chief technology officer. He's really focused on the digital product. Um, and then we have an ops person. So a little bit of everything, but like a ton of marketing, right? So we're a DTC consumer brand. Um, Marketing is huge for us, right? It's how we talk to our consumers. It's how we get out there because I don't have a storefront. I don't really have other ways to communicate. So yeah, looking, at marketing metrics, talking about, landing pages, how our ads performing, conversion rates, things like that. Spend a ton of time there. and then, all the boring stuff, right? So, is the supply chain going well? Do we have enough product on hand? Things like that, getting into the financial stuff, you know, the boring stuff, numbers.
It's got to be done, right?
It's got to be done.
It's got to be done. Okay. And as far as, of course, there's the boring, there's the exciting. As far as, keeping up to date with things, Joe, there's a flood of content out there.
Yeah.
And I wonder, how do you stay focused and keep learning among, all of this chaos in a way? Are there certain places, people, routines you turn to, or?
I don't know that I go to a routine, uh, but I mean, you're right. There's just so much out there. So, whether it's, my friend groups here, like peer groups here, like I have a lot of people that send me things and I'll send them things back. I have a lot of Google alerts set up. Our chief operating officer is always sending me things. And then one thing I've really focused on is just trying to get out there and not sit here in front of a computer all day and actually talk to people. I think getting out and interacting with people and actually like having a real conversation with somebody kind of like this, like you get so much more from that. Even if you're talking about an article that they send, you get so much more from that than you do from reading or sitting in front of a computer or trying to do things that way. I really am huge on human interaction, face-to-face interaction.
Love it. Okay. I think it's the best way, right? Just face to face most of the times, and people, there's something about being in a room together,
Yeah.
even if it's just a quick chat or a brainstorm that's been lost in the last few years, and I'm glad people are going back to it in a way, shaking hands, the conferences, the things like that. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, so many people spend so much of their day just, right, the 8 inches in front of their face staring at their phone or a computer screen or whatever it is.
Yeah, no.
So, again, like being a wellness company, like eating, moving, sleeping, that human interaction, it's hugely important.
Nice, nice. Okay, Joe, we're going towards the back half of our episode together here. So, what I love to do for the last few minutes is just go into a rapid fire segment. Essentially, just a few questions, rapid fire style. Talk
All
about
right.
books or content you consume. We talk about magic wands, but I'm not going to spoil it for you. Are you ready for it?
Yeah, I don't know like I get excited about books, so I'll try to be quick on that answer. But I get excited. I was reading the questions beforehand, and
All
I have two
right,
books.
all right. Sounds good. So I guess we'll jump right into that one. What's the latest book you picked up, and were there any ideas or gems that really stuck with you?
So the latest one's actually Atomic Habits, but I reread that one, right? I've read it a bunch of times, and it I don't know if it's core, but like it aligns very well with our philosophy, right? So those small habits and gut health are going to build and build and build. So whether it's just drinking water or having a colorful plate, right? Getting fiber, getting probiotic rich foods. And again, that's kind of how we approach it. Like that is the best way, absolutely, to have a healthy gut is to have, kombucha or kimchi or something like that. Our probiotics and our fiber are great, and they are tools for people with busy lives who maybe can't do that every day or, maybe don't like some of those fermented foods. The other one I read, and this actually goes really, really well with like that kind of holistic approach, is a book called The Body Keeps the Score. Um, I feel bad. I'm going to butcher the author's name. It's I think Bessel van der Kolk. But it's a great book. So it talks a lot. It's a little scientific, but it talks a lot about trauma um, and kind of how it rewires your brain, and then like some things that you could do to be a little bit healthier, right? So again, eat, sleep, move. Kind of like that holistic wellness approach.
Of course. I mean, it makes sense, right? For someone like you to have these books in mind, and I think it was super useful for our broader audience. Generally speaking, Atomic Habits is a great book, and I'm gonna check out the other one. It sounds interesting. By the way, I eat kimchi for breakfast every day, so I'm hoping I'm doing something right on that end. But
Oh yeah,
um,
you're absolutely doing something right, man. I mean, like any kind of fermented food, especially if it agrees with you, is great.
very good,
Yeah,
very
please.
good,
That
very
it's a
good.
great book. It's dense. I wound up I listened to it while I was jogging, but it's like 16 hours long. So anyway, it's a great book.
Ooh, okay, okay. Thanks for that. If you had a magic wand, Joe, and you could fix one frustrating thing in your life with tech, comes to marketing or operations, maybe something else, what would you pick?
Attribution. All right. Where are my customers coming from? I want to know exactly, and I'm sure you've heard this before, but I can go look at Meta. It doesn't really match what I'm seeing in my store. I can go look at my store maybe, but it's not comprehensive. Um, there are a lot of tools out there that say they're comprehensive, but they're not exactly. So, the more data I can get, the more granular I could get on that, the better. And we spend a lot of time trying to look at attributions again, like for those A/B tests or trying to figure out what's working and why.
Yeah. Well, you're not the first, I can tell you that for sure.
I'm not surprised.
Joe, what's one repetitive task that you love to put on autopilot forever?
If I had one repetitive task that I had to put on autopilot forever, that would probably be reporting. I think you spend a lot of time, or we spend a lot of time looking and putting together numbers. And again, you're kind of pulling from a lot of disparate places, and I wind up spending a lot of time doing that. So if I could automate reporting and just have those numbers, whether beyond just attribution, that's absolutely what I would automate.
Fair enough. That's again, most people will resonate with this. I'm sure most of our listeners, because we speak to marketers, CEOs like yourself, founders. Reporting is a big one for sure. Joe, I want to thank you a lot for being on the show with us today, and I want to give you the last word. If someone forgets everything about the interview today, what is the one thing that they should remember about the work you guys are doing?
Um, Small habits built over time will make a huge, huge difference. Stick with it.
Amazing.
Absolutely
That's
stick
a
with
bit
it.
of wisdom right there. I appreciate it, Joe. If people want to check you guys out, if people want to check out Ombre, where can they go?
OmbreLab.com is our website, so please stop by, take a look. And if you have feedback for us, there's a chat bot there, so please give us feedback. We are always trying to improve. We're very, very open to feedback. So please let us know what you think.
I love it. I love it. Joe, again, thanks for being with us today. Wish you the best of luck, with every endeavor with Ombre, and maybe we exchange notes offline about books. But it was a great conversation. I appreciate your insights and enjoy it. I wish you a wonderful day.
Oh yeah, thank you. And if you got any recommendations, I'm always looking for my next read. So I
All
appreciate it, man. It's
right.
great talking to you.
Amazing. All right. Bye, everyone.
All right, bye.